have to actually get some of those channel
It actually
points.
seems like less and less as it's dropped to 6%. So, yeah, a little rough. But let's kick it off, Lethal. Map number 1. Great start to the day. We'll see how great it could be for GaRpY as he's going to start off on that Nixon again. This is Deep Embrace, GaRpY versus cypher. We are live.
We sure are. And like I said, we've got a long day ahead of us, and it's going to be an incredible day nonetheless. There's already GaRpY having to sneak away, but cypher does manage to find him in that murder hole. Almost gets cleaned up by that tri-bolt, but good response with that railgun, still trying to stay alive, which he does manage to. And you've got to remember that heavy's coming up in the next 5 seconds. He probably realizes, but he is still on that mega, and he was available at the time, so that was very risky, but at the same time, he felt like cypher was not going to be able to respond quick enough. So good start from GaRpY, considering the start he did have previously.
This is absolutely a miracle, I would say, based on GaRpY was down to 30 HP with nothing, and now he has a decent stack. cypher a little bit better off, but Ghostwalk is back up for GaRpY. If things go horribly wrong, he's going to try and set up for this mega. He might be able to sneak in. Rocket not doing any damage. You can't really push off of that, but trying to do some good damage indeed. The tri-bolt from cypher not really landing, and GaRpY will actually get the kill, and mega's up, and a great rail off the spawn. What a fantastic start, and I jinxed it. cypher just put the rocket in his pocket to tie it at 1, and just cypher things, man.
Can't believe you jinxed it. Unbelievable. After that mid-air rocket. But it is cypher after all. Not really too much of a surprise. Speaking of directs, he does hit another one. Oh, I like that. Good timing as well. He knew that if that Pico was going to be anywhere near him, he was going to get taken down. But he is still pretty weak here, as he's still trying to get away for dear life. cypher, no. Just having a little look around to see if he does push from the rockets. Looks like he will not, so cypher will get the heavy for free, as the mega will be picked up by GaRpY as well. Just going around the shotgun to bottom middle, cypher just standing his ground, just holding his turf just to see where GaRpY could be heading, but neither player hasn't really got much info on each other yet.
Patiently, GaRpY waiting on the campfire. Good LG to force cypher onto the low ground, but GaRpY still doesn't have a stack. A little bit too early for the heavy, and now he has to use the Ghostwalk as he tried to double back to the armor shard. Here's the chase from cypher, perfect read, but the LG from GaRpY, so strong.
This is what I mean. If there was one map I reckon GaRpY could win, it's this one every time. It's just a matter of who's going to get full map control, full item control, item segregation, and then have done with it. But so far, GaRpY's taken a huge amount of damages. Still cypher trying to adapt to GaRpY's movements here. Is he still currently top mid? GaRpY has a little inkling in forward, just waiting to see where he's going to come from. But oh, that was such a shame as well. If he shot that third rocket, maybe we've got a bit more damage on as cypher was coming forward. But still though, still trying to get the flank around, just playing a do-si-do in the murder hole, does back away, still got a decent amount of health, but cypher's got a huge stack to work with as GaRpY does get the first rail in, and this is good stuff from GaRpY. What a great flank as well, using that Ghostwalk to his advantage to try and clean up cypher. And already, he couldn't really do that much at all, but at the same time, just keeping GaRpY at bay, and now down to 37 HP.
Really unfortunate Ghostwalk there. I mean, the play was great, the execution not so much. The LG unfortunately won't come through for GaRpY this time. cypher ties it up at 2. GaRpY doesn't have Ghostwalk off the spawn, still trying to do some damage on the mega as the tri-bolt right in his face, forcing him back out. And this is kind of where it's danger zone as a Nyx. No Ghostwalk, you're very vulnerable off the spawn, don't have a lot of weaponry, can't really rely on the rail either, but doing really good damage with these rockets, and GaRpY making some magic happen here, trying to get this frag. Peeker comes out, GaRpY has to be careful. Good rocket. Dealt with nicely, Lethal.
Well, I've mentioned it quite a few times, GaRpY is the rocket man. Heavily relies on the rockets normally, but not as much this time round, which is a little bit of a surprise. So he's changing things up a little bit in terms of his progression to his opponent. Just trying to back away, but as I say that, there you go, rockets are coming in. You just expect him to go through that telly whilst he contests the heavy. Heavy's coming out in the next 6 seconds, but GaRpY trying to get in early. He's taking a huge amount. Both of them are so weak, and cypher just trying to hopefully just tickle GaRpY a little bit more to clean him up. And even though he didn't have the stack advantage, he caught him by surprise and managed to take him down. So beautiful stuff from cypher. Good risk as well, done a huge amount there and takes him down just before the mega. And this is where things could get a little bit awkward now for GaRpY.
Oh yeah, forcing out the Ghost Walk immediately off the spawn, and Cypher gaining momentum. GaRpY needs to try and slow things down as he has before, doing a good job. Oh my god, the rockets! You know why Cypher renamed himself? Because he wanted to send GaRpY to the ER, Lethal. That was an insane rocket. I don't even understand it, but put it in the frag movie as GaRpY in a bad way again goes down 6-2 for Cypher.
And this is what I was...
Oh my god!
The direct as well, with the rail on spawn. How much worse can it be for GaRpY here? This is a real shame. This is what I was worried about. I thought at some point, at some time, once Cypher gets full map control and has item segregation, this could be it. And it looks like it's already begun. It's just a question of how GaRpY can counteract exactly what Cypher's going to be up to. He's going to push him with that peek. It does a little bit, but not a huge amount to turn the tide, but GaRpY's already so weak. He needs to be extremely careful with the whereabouts of Cypher. Just keeping him back with that rail. He's had some good rockets earlier on as well. Just expecting him to go through that murder hole. And that was such a good rail and good prediction as well in terms of his whereabouts.
Ooh, good rocket from GaRpY now. Potential opening. The rocket jump from Cypher as he wants to skirt around the map, denying the 50 shard, making his way back, and GaRpY has to be careful. The rail just missing out 25 HP for GaRpY, and the tickle will do it. And yeah, this is the problem with playing with Nyx. When you're in control, it's all gravy. It's a lot easier, but then you lose control, you lose your Ghost Walk, and the momentum on this map specifically too is just so scary. And your Cypher and your rockets just seem to, you know, home in on your enemy. And the peeker, what? Was that a double? Did he shoot through the peeker and hit Cypher? I don't even understand that, Lethal, but GaRpY getting the frag back and Cypher putting a quick end to that, 11-3.
I'm glad you said that because I thought it was just me seeing things, but
maybe we're old, our eyes are bad. But regardless,
it might just be. It might just be.
Still a big lead for Cypher here. GaRpY in a bad way, trying to do some magic with the LG and some wall jumps, but with that Mega, this should give Cypher the kill, going up the jump pad, and it's just a matter of time. Cypher picks him out of the sky, has a 50 shard to work with, and I think for the next 3 minutes, it might just be more of the pain train and the Cypher show.
Yeah, something you don't want to see. Cypher available. GaRpY are looking for that one rail to maybe turn the tide, but we know how difficult it is at this point. But Cypher is getting a lot of value out of his life. He's making sure he can do everything he can before he gets cleaned up. If he gets cleaned up at this point, consider how well he's been doing. He will not. As you can see, Cypher just making matters worse once more. Picks up the heavy again at 2.5 minutes left, and so far, GaRpY's just been struggling to try and adapt to what Cypher's up to and just trying to stand on his own 2 feet, because it's been a really difficult path. And like you said with the Nyx as well, considering with the stack you start with every single time and how the spawns are quite easy, not just to predict, but more so like in terms of getting to position for, it's very tough. And yeah, and if you don't have that Ghost Walk on spawn, it just makes things even worse coming into this, as GaRpY finally gets another kill onto the board and gets the spawn rail as well, as he's still only on 16 HP, but with a couple of minutes left, it's not looking good.
Ooh, good rail around the corner here. GaRpY trying to make some magic. Keeping the focus up. I mean, this one is pretty much lost, even though Dan would say there's still time, but he's usually wrong when he says that. So 10 frags in less than 2 minutes, even on Deep Embrace. I think it's going to be too difficult, but it's important that GaRpY keeps his head in the game, keeps his aim and movement sharp going into the next map, because it is only one map, and it is best of 3, and every map counts, Lethal, especially when you're down in the danger zone, as we mentioned before, for GaRpY. But what a display from Cypher. I mean, rockets, just incredible from Cypher. Great play overall. A bit of a rail here, might pull out the peak of the shotgun instead. Oh, just missing with the rail. Good frag from GaRpY there. I mean, item control for Cypher, pretty bonkers. 10 heavies, 12 megas in comparison to 6 and 3 for GaRpY. And just the rockets. That's, I feel like we could clip 6 of the frags here for Cypher. GaRpY with a nice Ghost Walk play here. Rockets of his own from GaRpY. Don't sleep on GaRpY. Going into map number 2. We'll see if he can kind of reboot a little bit, but I still feel like this was the Cypher show.
Yeah, and you've noticed as well that Cypher has only fired 10 rails. He's been relying on his rockets and his LG a lot more in comparison. Mainly his rockets overall, but then again, look at his LG damage as well. 38%, 1600. Oh, it's been absolute madness. It's quite strange as well because I thought cypher was going to be relying on the rail a lot more. I was expecting, GaRpY to have a lot less rail shots, but it seems like GaRpY's been relying on the rail a huge amount, but just couldn't get anything going, considering his percentage was very, very good overall. But yeah, a little bit of a shame there. Not the start. Oh no, not the start that GaRpY would like in this series, but it's just one of those things. We spoke about it before. After we tweeted out that he's going to be going in guns blazing for the rest of the stage, this is what you're going to get. Just an absolute stampede there from cypher. 18-6 and just under 200 more damage. But you're right about in terms of the item cycle. 23 items, 23 lights as well. That's a huge statement there.
Yeah, and I mean, it calls into question the pick, right? Like, GaRpY obviously had an idea of a plan he wanted to implement with Nyx, but that's a tough pick on that map, especially when there's everything on the board because it was the first map. I think they'd banned out Doom first, so cypher picks whatever. You still have a lot on the board to work with, but going with the Nyx, it didn't really work out, and cypher just took this one away and put on quite the show to start the day for Week 10 for us.
Yeah, it took a few minutes, took a while, and cypher saw there. Spent 2 or 3 minutes working on his calculations, doing his quadratic equations especially, just to try and work out what GaRpY could be doing for the next 7 minutes. Worked him out, downloaded him, and then things just escalated very, very quickly afterwards. But I must say, GaRpY stood his ground very well at the start of that match, trying to, keep himself at bay, keep himself away, and try and use that Ghost Walk to its full potential. You saw it earlier on when he was getting that first rail hit and then using the Ghost Walk to try and get the flank round whilst knowing that he's probably still going to be lurking around top mid. Then afterwards, that was literally about it. It was the cypher show for like the remaining 6 minutes. It was a real tough ride for GaRpY there. But this is what I'm a bit skeptical about here. That is one of his better maps from my knowledge, from the top of my head. And the fact that now we're going to the next 2 maps, next one being cypher's pick, it's a bit of a shaky one here, 40. I don't really know. But then again, it's like I said before, both these players like these 3 maps. It's not like they have any other maps they're not too keen on. It's just GaRpY is probably best at Deep Embrace out of the 3 of them. And the fact that that's the scoreline from that first map, I'm a little bit worried.
I still chalk it up to the champ pick. Again, I know that he probably had a strategy or a plan he wanted to try out or implement, but it just didn't go to plan, obviously. So not the biggest deal. I mean, down a map against cypher is always rough, but going into Awoken, it's going to be Ranger DK. I think it's going to be a little bit more even in terms of champ picks. But cypher, those rockets were absolutely absurd. I know GaRpY has fantastic rockets too, but what do you do when you just walk around a corner and you hit 100 damage rocket to the face? Like, that's just disheartening. I don't care who you are. Like, you just have to throw your hands in the air and be like, all right, I don't even really want to play anymore. But 10 minutes of that will crush anyone's spirit. So we'll see if cypher can link those rockets again. Map number 2 shortly. I heard the buzzer. We're going to get into it. But let me take a look at the predictions here. Letha, what do you think about this one?
Oh, I don't know. Just how you were describing that first map, I think a lot of people was, it's going to take its toll of him. Sometimes it can be an Alt F4 job, but, he's got to continue on. He's got to try and scrape one of his maps by maps 2 and 3. But for this one in particular, like, cypher is very, like, he either keeps the scores very close or it just goes way out of proportion with like 10 or 15 frag lead. We've seen it time and time again. It's very hard to dominate cypher in this map. You can never get enough leadway for himself in order to, get enough value against a lot of the engagements. Because his combat skills are so good, he seems to be able to trade almost every time, or if not, just keep you at that disadvantageous position at all times. It's a rough road for any opponent or any player that comes up against cypher. But currently it is 1-0 in this series. If you're just joining us, it is the first match of the day. And cypher now is going to see if it can go up to a 2-0 lead. We'll see. The Ranger versus the Death Knight as well. We've seen a lot of Death Knight on Awoken, actually, in previous engagements. But so far, though, we're going to see if GaRpY can try and bring this back after that first map deficit.
Definitely doable, and shouts to the 4% on the predictions for GaRpY. Big plays from the chat, Lethal. As a bit of a slow start here on Awoken. A little bit more measured. GaRpY missing with the rail cypher. A little bit more in tune here. Needs to be careful with the telly plays. GaRpY, good try bolt. Almost gets the toesies with the rail, but will just miss the opportunity. Ooh, okay. There we go, GaRpY.
Oh, he's getting a bit cheeky, isn't he? With some of those rails. That's what I like to see. GaRpY just standing his ground, just biding his time for it. Just trying to see exactly what's going on. Looking at the decor at the moment just to see, you know, what's been plastered on the walls. Just having a
The
little
game is
nosy
gorgeous.
around.
You have to appreciate the game in every moment you're in it right now. And I like the slow play from GaRpY, just waiting to pop out and give that buckshot to Cypher if he gets too close. But he has to be very careful because the Flame Strike will destroy you. But I'm guessing Shotgun and Dire Orb is going to be the combo GaRpY's going to try and look for here. Because I think he heard Cypher down below going through the telly. But yeah, very, very patient play here from GaRpY. And this could be the opportunity to line it up. A little bit of Tribal. Just gets the information he needs before he can finally get in on some rockets.
Yeah, still biding his time. He likes Awoken for it. Likes to have a little nosy around once again. But now he's got full stack to work with. But then again, so has Cypher. It's going to be a matter of who gets that first bit of damage after us. Tickling with the 24. Is GaRpY still just standing his ground? I like it. It's got a very defensive approach. We know that sometimes GaRpY can be a little bit defensive, but this is a lot more passive than what we're used to. And could he be able to find his first rocket? Again, just sprinkles a bit more damage onto Cypher, knowing that that Mega's come up in the next few seconds. Still trying to contest it, but he's in a position to drop for the heavy if he wants to. But that LG was ridiculous from GaRpY. That's a great way to start things off.
That entire sequence of 2 minutes and 20 seconds was fantastic from GaRpY. So patient, waited for the exact moment where he knew he had the advantage, had the timing, just melts Cypher. Again, the shaft was incredible, needed to be pixel perfect. Another second, Cypher would have had the Mega Orb on his way. But now the Flame Strike, and this is going to even it up potentially here, as GaRpY burning alive has to grab the the single 25 and has an opportunity here, but is he going to risk death? Nope. Cypher grabs the Mega and pounces right on top of him on the way to the heavy.
Yeah, he knew he was in trouble. As soon as he heard that Mega pickup, he was like, yeah, I'm literally done here. Just Cypher keeping top mid control once again. But I must say, even though GaRpY's losing these last couple of engagements, his tracking's been absolutely solid. Hopefully he can keep this up, because he's going to have to against the likes of Cypher. 3 minutes has passed. Cypher up 2-1. And still, though, just trying to get away. He was railable by 1 HP, so Cypher just playing it safe here. Good first rail. Ooh, he takes one himself, and GaRpY, that was much, much better in terms of his performance going into the telly. And even though 3.5 minutes have passed, it's all tied up. But this passive approach from GaRpY's definitely working in his favour, just making sure he keeps tabs on some of these items here and there, and just making sure he can reposition himself carefully. Should be okay, but just keeping him back once again. Tickles him once more up top mid, does a little damage once again. This is a great time for him to either try and contest a heavy or just go straight in for the kill.
There's the Dire Orb. I love the dodge on the Flame Strike and the follow-up with the Orb. Really nice play from GaRpY there. Dodging the flames, using the Dire Orb to get past them, and then trapping Cypher, but he needs to be really careful, really weak. Cypher wants the frag, the rocket will not connect, and GaRpY can get 75 HP and a light armor and survive at least for a little bit longer, but Cypher won't allow it. 2 quick rails, tracks him down, ties it at 3 lethal.
He certainly does indeed, but however way you say it, or see it rather, it's definitely been working out for GaRpY. This is a much better performance. Cypher taking a bit longer to adapt to GaRpY this time around. He knows what he's up to in terms of his shenanigans. And the problem is, it's just a matter of how to get around it. He's forcing Cypher to play this style, but you can see at the same time, Cypher's trying to progress a little bit quicker now, trying to dictate the pace of the game, and eventually he will, considering the stack he has, which means that he can take a few more risks here. But GaRpY would have heard him pick up the tri-bolt. Now he's just heading towards top mid. He probably knows he's gone for the heavy machine gun as well, but especially with that sound cue, he knows the rocket's going to be coming in. Does some damage, not a huge amount, which means the Cypher's going to be able to take him down, and he's going to be able to get this lead. Took a while here for him, but he manages to get it done.
Gets the lead, and can he keep the momentum up? GaRpY get caught up. Banana needs to be careful. LG on LG, that's not the fight he wants to take. Good damage, but with Cypher having the Mega fall back on, GaRpY might go down here, and he does. Decent LG, good damage, but Cypher using the items to his advantage, and just again plants him with another rocket. The Dire Orb is down as well now, but a return rocket! Cypher takes out Cypher! The rocket pops him, and the wall was there. Unfortunately, Cypher already committed, but look at these oh my god!
it's just pure filth, isn't it, really, at this point? It's just absolute madness. As now they're both going to engage once again. Cypher takes him out. Clean combo there from Cypher. And now it's up 7-4. As I rightly said before, with Cypher on Awoken, he either keeps the score really close if he's behind, or things will just escalate. It seems like it's been a little bit of both so far. GaRpY has kept it close, but Cypher now just trying to figure out a way to increase his score margin, as he's going to be above GaRpY. Got positional advantage, not after that direct, needs to back away, picks up the Mega. GaRpY gets a good rail though, gets a second. Don't know if he's going to go for the third here. Will he be cheeky? He will try and go for it, but Cypher's like, no, you will not, as I will increase the lead once more. Now with 3 minutes and 20 left remaining.
Yeah, really well played there from Cypher. Sorry, I had to change my trousers, as you would say. 8-4, as Cypher 4 frags in the lead with a heavy in his pocket as well. Flame Strike is back up, and that could be curtains for GaRpY. Cypher backing off onto the Mega. It's going to be a full cycle in his favor, and that stack is just gigantic. GaRpY needs to be very careful. Does have the Dire Orb. But the pressure's on with less than 3 minutes left, down 4. Needs to start making some plays, and this next heavy might be his opportunity. He's got rockets and LG. Doesn't want to make noise on the rail quite yet, but rocket's not connecting. The second one not so bad into the LG. This could be it, but at the very least, Cypher has stolen away the heavy, misses with the rail through the drive-through window, and with the Flame Strike, he should be able to make his path to the Mega, and indeed the rocket jump will seal it for him. And this is bad news. There it is, the Dire Orb to get out of danger, and GaRpY with a great rail. He's literally on fire. Somehow grabs a health bubble to stay alive, but he's still so incredibly weak.
That was literally like a micro or 100th of a second, and just being able to get that health bubble in that rail area. And just looking at the stats so far, you can see GaRpY, I know he's only fired 8 shots, but he's hitting 87% rail. Just needs to continue just relying on his strengths here. The only problem is he's only got a couple minutes left remaining. He needs to restack as well. But in terms of item control, 40, you have to have a look. 23 items from Cypher to the 8 of GaRpY. So definitely swinging the tide here, but at the same time, GaRpY's keeping up in terms of damage. We'll find him, but will he be able to engage? No, he will not, as even though he uses that orb, doesn't really benefit him in any way. He's still got to try and find 4 frags in the next couple minutes, but does find the first here and got a huge stack to work with.
And that was so clean. He needs rockets, though. Luckily picks up one off of a corpse, but Mega's to his back. He's got a minute 20. He can do this if he catches out Cypher here with another clean one. This could be really bad. Cypher needs to be careful.
He certainly does. Is GaRpY just pretending to go a certain way, just to try and bait out Cypher top mid, but Cypher didn't fall for it. He was just, again, sitting there patiently. He's not the one who needs to be the aggressor at the end of the day. Just listen out for the sound cue to see where GaRpY could be. He knows that GaRpY's got the stack advantage, so needs to not completely stay away, but just try and continue doing the chip damage onto GaRpY to keep him away, as GaRpY just going to be flanking round with the heavy. Gets the first rail off. It's going to try and choke him out into that nail area. He does manage to do it. Got 40 seconds left, but that wasn't the cleanest frag. So again, this next engagement with Cypher needs to be as clean as possible. That's even if it does actually take him down, but it does pick up the heavies. So that will give him a bit of a helping hand, give him a bit of value here if he does win this next bout. But with 20 seconds left, not too sure if it's going to happen here for you.
Cypher just needs to not commit to anything, but this might be a frag, and it is, but I don't know if there's enough time. GaRpY's so weak. Cypher did the damage he needed, but GaRpY doesn't have a choice. He has to push this. There's the Mega. 9 seconds. Can he catch him out? I don't think he will. He's checking every nook and cranny, but Cypher's already gone. And this one came down to the wire, but GaRpY just could not find Cypher. So by the skin of his teeth, Cypher will take this set 2-0 as we head into the third map, but GaRpY very, very strong on Awoken.
He looked really good. It was much better than we thought. I think the slower approach, David gave him a lot of advantage just due to the fact that he knows what Cypher's like. He can, I wouldn't say he gets impatient, but he likes to try and, play that aggressive style. But it's very difficult when you've got someone just lurking around, just waiting for you to make the first move. It's so tough. And GaRpY should definitely rely on his rail a lot more. We saw that he had a 71% percentile in terms of his accuracy, and even though he didn't fire a lot of shots, he was hitting a staggering amount considering the positions he was putting himself in to try and take out Cypher. But I will say that he played much better overall. Just needs to try and contest the items a little bit better And apart from that, though, GaRpY just needs to continue doing what he's doing, really. That defensive approach did work against cypher. It's more of a kind of base style approach, but we know that GaRpY does play like that from time to time. It's just this time round he played a lot more defensively than he normally would, and did take advantage of that on a number of occasions. We'll have to see if we can find out a little bit more about against Exile. But Exile, it's very, very tough to play that passive style as well.
That clutch rail while he was on fire was so good from GaRpY. And the rockets just, again, GaRpY has insane rockets. So when we talk about Cypher's rockets, it's no disrespect to GaRpY because his rockets are incredible too. It's just Cypher sometimes are that much more incredible, which is absurd. We're already dealing with just a level of rockets that I'll never understand. I don't even know if Jeffrey Bezos or Richard Branson can deal with these rockets, but that's not the point. Is we're going to send us to map number 3, as you mentioned, Exile. It's going to be Eisen for Cypher and Sorlag for GaRpY. GaRpY, I mean, he's already given up the series, but he still needs maps as he is facing relegation. And so every map matters. I hope he can, keep fighting through this because he's getting closer and closer. And I think with this champ setup, Sorlag, I don't know if I'd give it the advantage, but at least even. So I think GaRpY has a shot. I think he's proven that he could probably take a map off Cypher, and that's going to be huge.
Why not? With the Sorlag, you can make sure to try and contest these items a little bit better. Hopefully this time round it will... if he prepares a lot earlier in comparison to Cypher and just keep lurking, doing what he's doing, then it should be okay. It should be fine. But the problem is you can't play back defensively on Exile. It's very, very tough. It's very open. It's, one of the smallest maps in the pool. And that's why it's just a little bit tough, really. That's why you see players like Base struggle on it from time to time because he can't really play to his strengths or his advantages. But, this is Cypher's map all day. But from what we saw from GaRpY in that last map, much better. He was able to adapt towards the end, keep Cypher on his toes, and we just need to see a little bit more than that because you got to remember, like you rightly said, GaRpY's scraping bottom of the barrel here. He needs to try and get just any map at this point just to try and help him out because at this point in time, he's looking at death in the face in terms of that relegation spot. But we'll be going into the final map between GaRpY and Cypher. This is the first series of the day. We're going to find out if he can get this third map as Cypher's currently up 2-0 and we're starting off with the lovely GaRpY's POV.
And he's got the heavy. He's almost got all the equipment he needs. Just maybe some rockets here as he deals with Timmy. That buckshot taking him out. The rail will just miss. And let's not forget the unsung hero of this map, Sync. How many frags is he going to put up this map? We will find out shortly here. Lethal is 30 seconds in, rather quiet start, missing with the rail, but a little bit of spit just to make sure Cypher pays the price. Good LG, does have a health bubble to negate that, but the LG is going to be enough from GaRpY as he claims the heavy.
Oh, this LG from GaRpY, we have to admit, fully, it is pure filth. It's like been just incredible and just a pleasure to watch every single time. Like as soon as we saw him earlier on top mid on Awoken against Cypher when he was trying to contest the Mega, ever since then, we've noticed that his tracking's been so good, massively improved in comparison to previous matchups. And this is what I was a little bit worried about in the past, but this time round, GaRpY's looking very solid. Having to deal with the turret this time round, as well as Cypher dropping down with the rockets, but will he be able to clean him up here? Does pick up the heavies, so again, much better from Cypher, now up 2-1, but the only problem is GaRpY's got to try and make the best out of a bad situation, tries to drop down, but Cypher's just begging for him to drop down, as he's got the LG in hand.
And unfortunately, the aggression with the nail gun didn't really hit anything. Didn't work out for GaRpY at all, but that rocket from up above, not too bad. But the return rocket from Cypher is just as good, if not better. And a great rail as well, pixel rail, as GaRpY does at least steal away the heavy, but the cutoff with Timmy, Cypher has position. This Mega should go to him, but GaRpY needs to be careful going through the telly, eating a rail, and Cypher's just so on point.
He really is indeed. And what we've got to remember is that both players do have abilities which will help them out, especially in terms of preparation for these items. Of course, the turret for Cypher especially, as he takes down GaRpY once more. Quite clean as well, which means that still on his default stack, he can continue to put the pressure onto GaRpY because he's got the weapons in his arsenal, but GaRpY just taking so much damage, gets eaten alive by the final rocket. But that's not the first time we've seen that rail through the bridge. We saw Max did it before. Cypher's like, oh, but I can do that as well. So he's going to do that too. And I must say, again, the LG from GaRpY. Probably a little bit of a different story if Cypher had a little bit more ammo, but Cypher comes in with the gauntlet. And now cypher is up 6-2 here, 40.
cypher, stop it. cypher, no. cypher, stop it!
No!
Look at him stare him down as his corpse falls into the void. Just relentless from cypher right now. 7-2. Incredible rails, incredible rockets. Concedes. The mega shotgun just enough as GaRpY cannot melt down cypher, and this is just wow, 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 wow. Back to the shotgun. GaRpY should be able to get this one as the blast just a little off target from cypher that time. But wow, what a series of unfortunate events for GaRpY.
Yeah, you were saying when's Sinclair going to get a frag? There you go. There you go.
At least the assist, at least. Sometimes he pops up and dunks on somebody, you know?
It's a real shame. 3.5 minutes, so you wouldn't think it's been that long, considering the scoreline been 8-3, 9-3 now for cypher. It's getting a little bit out of hand now. cypher, though, hasn't got any armor as of yet. Needs to try and find a few lights just to keep him going a tad, as the heavy won't be up for the next 20 seconds. Mega will be contested by GaRpY. cypher's well aware of that. He can hear his position above. He's going to go after those 2 lights first, though, before he engages in any more bouts. Mega is still up, though. Delays it quite heavily, and now it's segregated enough to contest both if GaRpY wants to come back in this matchup. And already a few good LG shots there from cypher just to keep him away a tad. As cypher just good first rail. Will he go for the second? He's going to get the LG out instead just to guarantee a little bit more damage. Good second rail again. As he picks up that health bubble just to stop the damage going any further. These rails from cypher once again cleans up GaRpY, and now is going to get the mega for free.
Just really good awareness from cypher, knowing exactly where GaRpY's forced to go, so the shots are easy to line up, and he's just converting on almost all of them now. As he takes away the heavy, easy shotgun blast to add to the body count, cypher is just running away with this now.
Absolute madness here. Still though, cypher continuing to pile on the pressure onto GaRpY. Does a decent amount of damage with the rockets. He's going to clear him up with the LG. Yes, he will. Even though GaRpY's LG has been absolutely massively on form, it's still very difficult to contend with the stack cypher has each and every time. But just looking at the stats so far, cypher's just ahead by 1,200 damage. He's got 15 items to the 6 of GaRpY. But don't get me wrong, GaRpY has been doing his best to try and contest some of these items, but he just can't, especially when he's got high advantage and cypher's doing stuff like that. What do you expect?
That's just the vertical rails are so hard to hit, and cypher's just, it's another day. He's just playing Instagib right now. GaRpY does get the frag back, but he's still down by 10 with a little over 4 minutes, and it's going to take an absolute miracle. I don't care how thick Sorbet is, this one's going to take a bit of a miracle here as the rocket will fly by cypher. GaRpY does have spit, a little bit of shotgun action as well, so if you can get up close, he could chunk down cypher, but cypher trying to play. There is the deployment of Timmy trying to play for this mega. Should be able to get it, actually gets bullied off. Good LG from GaRpY. And now he's on the hunt, leaving the mega up. This play is not bad, but if cypher keeps hitting rails like that, it's going to be curtains, and he drops down on the heavy and the LG again, lighting GaRpY up 15-4 lead.
Oh, that was so unlucky as well. He jumped at the worst time as well, because then he just got absolutely lit with that LG. 16-4 now. 3.5 minutes left still here for me, so we've still got a lot of time to work with. GaRpY, oh, there goes the second frag for Sinker. There we go. GaRpY sadly does fall down to his death. cypher trying to do him in with the nail. Does manage to do it in the end with that plasma rifle. Good stuff there. Tickles him just a tad on the heavy area. And just, we have to talk about the hit percentages as well. cypher was on 70% at one point. 70%, but now he's actually dropped a tad to 56. And we haven't seen a lot of railing from GaRpY. Maybe, I don't know if it's because he hasn't had the opportunity to grab the rail. I'm not too sure. It's maybe cypher's been contesting it quite a lot in this match. I'm not really too sure here, but as we're saying that though, GaRpY's already taken a huge chunk of damage, does get a frag back on the board against cypher, but just a tad too late here.
Rocket's just missing. That would have cut off cypher, giving GaRpY the heavy. But yeah, 1 for 5 rails from GaRpY, as you mentioned. And just unfortunate, I think maybe he's staying away from that entire area, Lethal. He's fallen twice now, and maybe he can't get back up. 7-20 now, as cypher has absolutely just blown the top off of this one. There's the spit, little bit of LG. Looks like he did get the tick damage, so he's just going to be able to track Cypher through the wall here. More LG. Can he get this frag? The shotgun will not land from Cypher. Not this time, but 210, 12 frags. Do you believe?
Well, if it wasn't mathematically impossible, I would.
Right, statistics, right, that's the
not.
thing. We don't have that in America. We don't really believe in numbers, I don't think. As GaRpY is already incredibly weak, has to take down Timmy, and now Cypher can kind of just pressure at will. Little machine gun, just one talon away, and there it is. There's the last bit of chip. Cypher adds another one, 21-8.
Still doing a fair amount. Cypher just standing his ground still. Lurking about a bit in the rail area, just doing a huge amount to GaRpY. GaRpY and straight into it. It's a real shame, don't get me wrong. I feel like even though it didn't go his way, we've seen a lot of improvements from GaRpY in terms of his, his tracking and his rockets have always been sublime anyway, no matter what. But yeah, it's just, when you're against this big of a stack every single time and struggling to contest some of his items, this is what happens, you see. 23-9, a minute left remaining, and Cypher's just all go here. He's just not stopping at all, and just not letting up in the slightest. It just making GaRpY's life hell at this point, trying to back away, just trying to get as much damage done as possible. Was looking to contest the Mega, but has to drop down, as so far 23-9, still just absurd.
Absolutely bonkers. But again, just play until the end. Every little bit that you have in the arena is experience going forward. And as we get closer and closer to the Stage 3 playoffs, only about 5 weeks away, you're going to need every bit of experience. So yeah, if you look at the scoreboard, this is a bit of a shellacking. But GaRpY, all things considered, not too terrible, especially on map number 2, Awoken. It was really, really tight. But Cypher just has this ability to snowball and just absolutely make your life hell. Unfortunately for GaRpY, this was one of those scenarios, but 11-23 as he does get that shotgun frag to close it out. I believe that's going to be the ender, barring anything right here. Maybe a little something. Nope, for Cypher.
Well, it was nice of you to be optimistic in that last fight. I was being optimistic as well, but it just didn't. It just did not happen. Look at that. Look at the damage as well. 1,670 more damage, and he had 21 of the items. I will say, though, that GaRpY did put up a much better fight in terms of contesting those items, but if he had some of the weapons in his arsenal a little bit more and give him a bit of a helping hand in terms of the range he was using, it could have been okay, because we know a lot of these players as well, when they contest sometimes the heavy or the mega, they do like to play, using the rail around the top rockets just to have both angles for the mega and the heavy in case they do push from a certain way or certain paving or route they normally take. But only one shot, 5 shots, only hit one, but that was more just due to the fact that it could be that Cypher was doing a good job just contesting the rail area. He was a little bit reluctant, on quite a few occasions, like you rightly said earlier. But at the same time, I mentioned it before the map even started, but GaRpY can't really play back defensively on Exile because of how open it is. It's very, very difficult to kind of play the lurking game, play that passive and try and find that one opening, because there's going to be so many disadvantages in terms of where you could come from, or if you're going to be down below, there's absolutely no way or no chance you can make something of it. And if you're above, that's what I mean, in terms of having the height advantage, it's so open, it's very, very difficult to work with. So GaRpY did his best. He did contest the items a lot better, but one thing I will say, that his aim was definitely a lot better in terms of a lot of the engagements we saw throughout the entire course of the series. But we did see a close scoreline on Awoken earlier on.
Yeah, and statistically, again, I can barely read, so numbers are very hard for me. I know that Flea is out there, and I hope he's crunching the numbers, because I wonder with that 3-0, I wonder if statistically GaRpY is just doomed to be 9 or 10. I don't know, barring, winning 3-0s maybe the next 3 weeks in a row, I don't know if he can get out of there. I think he's down in a hole, and I don't know if he could be saved, is what I'm telling you, Lethal. But I'm sure Flea is crunching the numbers, I hope. Flea, please. But yeah, that puts a bow on it for our first series, and I can't say that I'm too surprised. Again, GaRpY had a great second map. I think the strongest showing in the set, of course. And yeah, it's just a bit of a rough ride.
It really was. A real shame, in all fairness. Consider what we saw from that second map, but I say it every time for Cypher. On Awoken, it's either close or he just goes absolutely ham. And it was close in the end, don't get me wrong. GaRpY did a much better job. It's just a shame that his aim skill was a lot better this time round, and he's kind of feeling his style a little bit more. But to be fair, I don't see it as a bad thing that he's known about this. He was actually be able to rectify these mistakes a little bit later on, because it means he'll be a bit more prepared for, you know, relegation if he is in the relegation. Surely he must be, but like, obviously, yeah, we'll let Flea continue with that in terms of doing the stats, because our maths is horrible, isn't it? So we'll just let him crack on.
I mean, I feel like you're pretty good at math, but why don't we take like a 5-7 minute break? That's math, right? Those are numbers. We'll be right back with more Quake action. Don't go anywhere. Stay tuned.